Hey, hi. I have been preparing myself for this morning's discussion. It has come to pass that I'm different, very different. I've had so many inboxes and so many responses, so many questions regarding a video that I posted relating directly to me being in the process of getting a divorce, right? A lot of people ask me, how do I still manage to maintain an attitude of gratitude and go through this process? Now, I understand it's not easy, all right? And I know that I make it seem very easy. However, there are a lot of principles and fundamentals that I have stood on in order for me to walk through this process very easily, right? Now, I want to encourage all of you that are going through a separation and a divorce, a breakup. Yes, it is. It's tragic, right? I get that. There are kids involved, and yes, it is not always easy. However, dedicated to young people out there who are in relationships and who may pass through this, right? I just want to say, please completely discover yourself and fill in the voids in your life with a spiritual belief. Listen and hear me. Not a religious belief, a spiritual tie. Tie yourself, ground yourself on a spiritual belief, because the life that we are living is not easy, right? I watched, for my life support, I watched life coaching on relationships by Dr. Paul Jenkins, all right? And I've taken a lot of advice from Dr. Myles Munroe, Bishop T.D. Jakes. They speak about human behavior. They speak about relationships, marriages. The one fundamental that they speak about that a lot of people pass is singleness. All right? You gotta find peace within yourself. Peace with being alone with yourself. Be comfortable with yourself. In order for you to be comfortable with being with another person, you have to be able to be comfortable with being alone, being with yourself. When you find it difficult to be alone, when you find it difficult to be with yourself. All right, so I'm taking this moment right here, right now, to confirm or to answer some of the questions that have been asked, and that's regarding the co-parenting. And some of you know me, so you've commented and you've stated that you know or you've heard, and he said some really shady things about me, and why do I not bother myself with that? Why do I not confront him? You know what? The most important thing here is that we are co-parenting. We are raising kids together. That if there's one person in this entire situation that I have learned how to accept completely for who he is, it's their father. Because I have to accept who he is. I know him. I know his weaknesses. I know his strengths. And I look at his strengths, I look at his virtues, and I say to myself, you know what? Accept him for who he is, because this is a long-term relationship, whether I like it or not, whether he starts dating or not, whether I start dating or not, whether I choose to get married or not, whether he chooses to get married or not. I mean, he literally lives down the road from us, and he comes here every day. We see each other every day. And one thing that I've learned from my past failed relationships is that when you have a bad relationship with the co-parent, there's very little of relationship between you and the kids, because the adults, they have a lack of communication between them. There's always animosity between them. So if there's less animosity, there's a higher chance of having proper communication in all directions and with all parties concerned. So it's not easy, but one thing that I've learned to live by, and that is the biblical teaching on forgiveness and self-control. Everything begins with self-control. Self-control is very, very important, right? It's very, very important. This is one of I believe this is one of the articulations where the 10 Commandments come into play. They state, respect your father and your mother. Now remember, it's not respect your mother and your father. It's respect your father and your mother. And the way I believe that children learn how to respect is from the adults around them, namely the mother. The mother examples forgiveness. She demonstrates it in her actions. She demonstrates unconditional love. And however the children become, right? I know that some kids, they turn out to be horrible kids. And in this case here, from what I can see with my kids, from their behavior, from the way that they are with the both of us, there is no resentment. There's no doubt in their minds that we love them. One of the biggest issues in divorce cases is that parents refuse to sit down with their kids and explain to them that none of this is their fault. Now, I have sat them down. I've walked this divorce journey with them. When I filed, they were with me. When I signed the final settlement, they were with me. The day I attended court to finalize the divorce, they knew that it was the day. They knew what was going on. I explained to them in a very baby language what divorce really is. And what parents fail to understand is that children begin to think that a divorce means daddy is no longer daddy, mom is no longer mom. And if you do not take the time to sit down and explain this to the children, they grow up never understanding, and they grow up, some of them angry, some of them rebellious, some of them grow up feeling like there's something wrong with them, because in some cases the father never ever comes back, or the mother leaves them with the grandparents, or the children are always desolate in most cases, right? I've learned this from my personal experiences, and I've watched how other kids react and respond to divorces. And because of that, I've learned how to walk the children through this. It wasn't easy. It never is easy. And nobody wants to do the difficult things. But you know what? I take it upon myself because I've committed. I've vowed to my Creator that I will make right by my kids, because I failed the first two. And it took me a long time to actually move past that and let go of it, and to come to a point where I could say, you know what, I forgive myself for what my kids have gone through, because I left and I could never mend the relationship between their father and myself. And because of that, there's a barrier between us. And I refused to do that this time. So by the grace of God, I just want to say this, by the grace of God, I've gotten to a point where, because of the things that I believe in and because I've grounded myself by what I believe in, I had the ability to immeasurably demonstrate forgiveness to them, to the point where they would ask me, but Mom, how do you do it? Because we know that he hurt you, and we saw what happened, we know what happened. So how come you let it go? How come? What's the matter with you? And I said to them, you know what? In order for you guys to have the co-parent that you need, in order for things to be okay between you guys, it has to be this way. Because this is what forgiveness is all about. Self. Find ways. Find hobbies. Engage yourself in the information that you read, that you listen to. And when I say engage, I mean test the theory, right? Don't just take a biblical principle and say, I'm going to live by this, and all you're living by are the words of a thing. You're not applying the knowledge to your life. Now, Dr. Myles Munroe, may his soul rest in peace. Most of my fundamentals and my principles, they come from his teachings, all right? I will paste a link in the bio, in the description. One of the things that I learned from him is the ability to be single. Be single alone. Be single in your marriage. Be single in your relationships. Be single in your friendships. It's a very, very important concept to be single. It's very important to understand the concept of self-control. It sounds easy. I know I make it sound very easy, but it's years and years of applying his teachings to my life that I've come to this point. I've even learned how to train your subconscious mind. Had I not been open to learning how to improve myself, my fights with cancer would have killed me. My fights with a lot of ailments would have killed me. This last divorce would have killed me. The struggle or the tragedy with the way that I lost my family, it would have killed me. However, I'm still here, and I'm here to encourage you. I'm here to say divorce doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be the way that society and the way that the world portrays it to be, right? But you have to tie yourself spiritually to a belief, and my belief, it stands grounded on forgiveness and loving kindness. That begins with myself. I had to have the ability to forgive myself. I had to have the ability to point out every single bloodline curse in my life. Point it out to myself and go against it, right? Like alcoholism. Alcoholism is in my family's bloodline. My father was an alcoholic. May his soul rest in peace. He's late now. He was an alcoholic, and he was very, very abusive. He got very aggressive whenever he drank alcohol. And I made it a point in my life to never drink. I don't drink. Yes, I used to smoke cigarettes. I was addicted to cigarettes. And I thank God, by his grace and by his mercy, my first daughter, she's now 7 years old. I quit smoking just before I fell pregnant with her. And that was on a journey of finding myself. Right now, my aim and my goal is to encourage all of you going through a separation, going through a divorce, going through a tragic phase in your life. It shall come to pass, trust me. all things come to pass. Nothing stays good for a long time. Nothing stays bad for a long time. It's life goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down. But you know what? You've got to learn to train yourself to take it with a cheerful heart. Remain with joy in your heart. Remain with an attitude of gratitude. Through every storm, there's a silver lining. There's a rainbow. There's always a rainbow at the end of a storm, and it's the most beautiful sight. That this is just to encourage you that what you're going through now, there's something that's ahead of you, that's in front of you, that is greater than the struggle that you are facing right now. So I just want to encourage you to please keep going. Keep your head up. Keep your chin up. Keep your head up. Keep your head above the water. Everything is the way that it's meant to be, and it's going to be okay. Forgive yourself. Forgive your partner. If he was cheating and you know the person, forgive the person that he was cheating with. Confront nothing. Forgive everything. Forgive it. Forgive the situation. Forgive that the vows have been broken. Forgive that the commitment has been broken. And